Huh?
You know what it is. It's that dawn. Big Slim. Brooklyn Bread Music. 85 and 95 and back down bottom. I'm on that 85 South driving to the plug. Take it back up 95 with my cuz. Big stepper, money doing what it does. Bad bitches in the spot gonna show me love. I'm on that 85 South driving to the plug. Take it back up 95 with my cuz. Big stepper, money doing what it does. Bad bitches in the spot gonna show me love. Just got another call coming from the house. They say it's money showers, we ain't doing droughts. Pull up on a bitch and take her from a spouse.
Hello everybody, this is Tiffany with the Private Room, and that was music by Dapper Don, who was on with us tonight. We'll hear some more of his music later. So welcome everybody for the part 2 to our 2024 Super Dads. If we could have everybody come on camera, please. Hi everyone, how are you doing?
All right.
Hi.
Hello.
Good.
Hello.
Good day. I don't know about y'all, but it has been pretty hot. Pretty hot here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're going to jump right into it because we have several guests on tonight. I want to make sure that we get to hear from everybody. So I'm going to go around in the view that I can see everyone. So if I call you, then that means that's because you're just next on my camera. So I want to go ahead and do introductions. Tell us who you are, what city and state you are, at least your state, and tell us about your business and what you do. We're going to start with Damien.
Hey, how y'all doing this evening? Again, Damian Harmon here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I think I'm a serial entrepreneur. By trade, I'm a mental health therapist, but I'm also a published photographer, also a consultant as well. So I do a variety of things here in the Charlotte area and the North Carolina area. Just happy to be here and be a part of this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Damien. So Damien has been on the podcast before, so I'm sure that y'all recognize his handsome face. So thank you for coming back on and sharing your expertise with us as a super dad. So thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you.
You're- next up, I see Charles. Charles, please introduce yourself.
I'm Charles Robinson from Charlotte, here in North Carolina. I'm a founder of a small nonprofit that's geared towards helping rebuild a child one family at a time. There's some important work that's being done here in the city for well over a decade now, and so we're just trying to push through and be the best folk that we can be in these children's lives and these families' lives.
Yes, thank you, Charles. I met you in the community. I believe I want to say it was through Brandon Chuck Brown. I believe he was the person that connected us a few years ago. And you were doing some great work then, and I know you're still continuing to do some great work with your wife. So thank you for coming on tonight and as one of our super dads. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Next up, we have James.
Hi there. My name's James Draper. I'm a stand-up comedian from Rock Island, Illinois, the Quad City area, right in the middle of the country. That's why I wanted to make sure about the central time to make sure I got here on time. I perform stand-up comedy all over the Midwest, from Nashville, Tennessee to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and Detroit, Michigan, Des Moines, Iowa, just everywhere in between. And I was able to work with Jonathan Coleman on a project called Yesterday Night Tape, and he had informed me that you were gonna do this, and asked that maybe I'd step on here and give my 2 cents. I don't want to say advice because I'm not. I wouldn't say a super dad, but I'm not a bad dad. I'll put it that way.
Good. Yes, I remember you saying that in your message, and I was like, well, Jonathan always comes really correct when I'm looking for guests. And so when you said, well, I don't know about a super dad, I was like, you know what? I don't consider myself a super mom because there's no handbook out there to be the perfect mom. But I do think I try my best, and that's all that matters to us. So
Absolutely.
yeah, Jonathan put you in the hat, and so welcome to the private room. Nice to have
Thank
you.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Next we have C. Dwayne. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm C. Dwayne Henna. I am a published author. I am a domestic violence advocate, independent domestic violence advocate for Durham. I've been doing advocacy for about 11 years, and each year I do a fashion show in October to promote against domestic violence. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Cedar Wayne is also one of our regular guests here on the private room because we talk a lot about mental health, and we also like to tap into different causes like domestic violence and breast cancer awareness, sexual assault awareness month. So we always like to tap in and talk to our community leaders and our advocates, especially monthly on our community pieces, which takes place on the first Monday of every month now, that just started in January. So welcome back, C. Dwayne, and thank you for coming out here to Charlotte a few weeks ago to speak on domestic violence for me. So I appreciate you and making the trip out here. Thank you. Next up, we've got Dapadon. We don't see your face, handsome. Are you here? Are you here?
I am here. I am here. I was
Great.
waiting for the introduction to switch devices, but I am here.
Okay. All right. Are you able to come on so that we can see your face?
I turned the camera on. You don't see my
No,
looking
we
face.
don't see you.
On.
And you like bright like me, so we should be able to
Right.
see you.
This is foolishness. I definitely trying to. No, still nothing.
I don't know,
Something's
Tiffany. I
happening.
had that same problem. That's why I logged out and logged back in because my camera wouldn't show.
Oh, okay. So
there you go.
All right, there we go. There we go.
There you go. All right. So introduce yourself, please.
All right. So I go by the name Dapper Don. I'm a artist, songwriter, arranger from Brooklyn, New York, or currently living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and definitely love it down here. Definitely a dad. Love being a dad. Challenging job, but somebody has to do it. So shout out to the other dads that are in the chat with us as well, and shout out to everybody that's watching and listening. So yeah, this is we'll have some good discussion tonight. It's gonna be a good thing.
Yes, great. So thank you so much, Dappa, for coming on tonight. I know you're really busy. Dappa is one of my artists that I manage, so I wanted to make sure that we had him on because he is a new dad. He has 4-month-old twins. Is that right, Dappa?
One of your artists that you yell at.
I do not yell at you.
Let's rephrase the nature of the relationship. But yeah, got newborn babies as well, and my oldest is 16. So yeah, I'm a dad of 3. Got 2 in one shot, and one long time ago. So
yeah. You sound like me with 16-year-old twins and a 3-year-old. So start all over. I don't know what came over us, Dad. I don't have no idea. No idea.
I'm pretty sure that I could say what came over us, but we ain't gonna discuss that on this show.
Okay. All right.
We ain't gonna tell.
Okay, all right. So what I would like to do, we know that Dappa has 3 kids, so I'd like to find out from everyone else, how many kids do you have and what are their ages? Anybody, feel free to talk when you're ready.
We missed one introduction, didn't we? I've only got one.
You've only got one. How old is yours?
Yeah, but he's 8. He just turned 18 last week and just graduated high school. So
nice.
Congratulations.
Watch my hand.
Congratulations.
You say more
Congratulations.
now, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good thing to talk about. Like, when is your time up as a parent? We'll get back to that question. We'll get back to that question. Somebody is causing a lot of interference. So if you aren't speaking, if you can go on mute, that would be helpful. I think it's Dappa. I'm about to mute him. Okay.
It was not me. Thank you.
It was not you?
I
Yes, it
muted
was.
myself already. I was about to switch to my iPad, so apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm
There
sorry.
we go. Right.
Okay. Y'all see ours relationship, right? Y'all see what's going on here, right? Okay. So, for our other guests, how many kids do you have, and what are their ages?
I have a two. I have a boy and a girl, a 13-year-old boy, 8-year-old girl. Uh, she does have me wrapped around the finger, unfortunately. I know that, so that's something that I'm working on. But those are the highlights. They're the highlights of my life. So we do what we do. We do it for them. So I love it.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And them girls will do it to you. They definitely will. So, yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. What about you, Charles? How old are your kids, and what are their ages?
I don't think you got enough time for all mine.
No,
Uh,
yes, we do. We got a whole hour, whole
okay,
hour.
so I have 8 kids and I raised 10, and so after that I got my tubes tied. Boy, I can't take it no more. My pocket's too big. Things rough out here, boy.
You got the
Yeah,
tube side. Okay,
yeah.
how old are they, Charles?
So my oldest son is 30, from 34 to 17. I'll have a fresh 17-year-old in a couple weeks. That's the last of the Mohicans, but I can say everybody's graduated from college. Um, I have a doctor, a teacher, a fireman, a business owner.
Wow.
Um, the fruit is good from this tree now. It's just, but it was rough. And when I say when I had
Okay.
4 kids in college at one time, it seemed like I stayed broke, but I love them. They're doing well, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for their future. So
Yeah.
this last year, I got one graduating this year. I told them I'll take care of you doing college, and after that, my pockets will be a little freed up. Yeah,
Right. So yeah, it's gonna
yeah,
be a wrap after that, huh?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Nice. Okay. Well, if Gray was here, he would be all over that having 8 kids because he's always getting on Kashonda or Queen about having her kids. She has 8 kids too. So that would have been a whole nother comedy series going on tonight if Gray was on here
A
tonight. So
whole nother comedy.
a whole nother comedy series, not just you, James. It would have been great popping jokes for the rest of the night. Yes, yes. And then see, Dwayne, tell us how many kids do you have and what are their ages?
I have 5 kids. I have a 28-year-old, a 24-year-old, two 22-year-olds, and an 8-year-old.
Okay, okay, nice. So a lot of ages in there, a lot of
Yes.
ages. Charles, how old is your oldest and how old is your youngest? I think I heard 17 is the youngest. How's your oldest?
Yeah. So my oldest is 34, um,
Okay,
and then Chase is my youngest is he's 16, but on 19th he'll be 17 years old. So yeah.
okay. Okay. All right. Nice. So I'm gonna ask that question because James brought it up. He said his kid has graduated from high school and he one and done. So, you know, for Charles and Dwayne and also Dominique, y'all have kids that have graduated from high school. So, give some of us parents who haven't had their children graduate from high school yet. Get what can y'all tell us about that transition from high school into adulthood? What can y'all share about that? And as far as also as being parents too.
Hmm. Well, for mine, it wasn't. My kids were pretty independent because I was a single mom a lot of the time. So a lot of my hours were spent working and trying to maintain the family. So they were pretty independent. Um, so it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard as far as, well, I didn't see it was hard, but of course, I'm sure it took adjusting for them to go from being in high school to being an adult. I think the one that really affected the most was my youngest. He is 20. And of course, he wasn't used to having to balance a banking account and keep up with his own money. And I make them make their own doctor's appointments and things like that, because a lot of my friends died young. So I say, Mom, I'm not going to be here all the time. So, or it may be a chance where you have to fend for yourself. So, but my 22-year-old daughter, I have 4 kids. My oldest is 33. It's 33, 28, 22, and 20. So the 22-year-old thinks she's his mom anyway. So I don't have a lot of work
Okay.
to do. She calls me and
Okay.
reminds me that, he needs to be picked up. He needs to go here. He needs to go there. So yeah.
Okay, okay, little mama. Okay, got it, got it. So to everybody, this is Miss Dominique, and I don't think C. Dwayne or Damien had a chance to meet her when y'all were last on the private room. She is our newest addition to the cast. She is our LGBT cast member, but she's also poly, so she does have a hubby as well. And so she's been a great addition to the team
I
and
have a
kind of
wife.
rounding us
I
out.
have
And
a
she has a wife. She has
I
a
have a
wife,
wife
and she has
and we have
her
a
partner.
boyfriend. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Thank you, Dominique. I just screwed all up. Tell your wife
My
I apologize. Tell your
my
wife I
wife
apologize.
my wife would have been commenting, she got a what?
Well, when I said hubby, I meant partner. I call everybody's
Yes.
man hubby. That's just
And
my
I don't
wording.
normally
But yeah,
correct when people say
yeah,
your husband. Yeah, I just okay. Yes.
yeah,
Um.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yes.
I am.
So,
I'm Polly.
More
I'm
power to
also.
you.
Oh yeah. It's not as hard as people think it is. People make it hard. But I am also a dame, so I'm into the BDSM kink world as well, and I own a business, an event business. It's called Vibe and Connections, where we host our adult events. We host some friendly, family friendly events as well, but not a
look
whole
at
lot of
We
those.
just
look at Dwayne. Dwayne said,
Right,
Don't care about that.
right,
let me get
not a
close
whole
in the
lot.
camera real quick. Hold on. So
Right.
you sign up to get spanked and shit. Like this is look.
Yeah. But
I'm
I
asking
like the
for a
fact
friend.
that Tiffany includes, from all walks of life on her podcast, because we've done podcasts about being poly, about being in the BDSM
No question
dynamic.
about that.
So just to be able to put everything together on one platform, that's amazing. So I'm just happy to be here. And I salute you,
Tiffany,
Thank
fathers.
you.
am I allowed to ask a poly question real quick?
No, we're
Not
talking about super dads.
This is
No.
about fathers, sir.
I was just wanting to know, like, how does
No.
does it work for you? I
Wait for
was
that
saying.
topic. Wait for
Right,
that
yes.
topic that week.
We'll talk later.
Right.
Fine.
I think it's possible.
This is our community piece. This is our community piece.
Only
Oh,
if you
great,
agree to
great.
write a
Good.
song about it. Only
Dads
then.
need variety.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
Dads need
yes.
variety.
Got to get my
That
plug.
is true. That is true. That is true. So what about you, Charles and Dwayne? What tips can you give parents like myself, Dapadon, and a couple of us? We don't have kids that have even got to high school and graduating yet. So,
I got high
how does
schooler,
how does
not college
parenting
yet.
how does parenting change for you after high school, or does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, you're not gonna take your hands off your kids, and so I'm from the old school. You love on your kids and you take care of them until they can take care of themselves. And you teach them how to instead of pushing something on them. My kids, I got kids by a few women, and it was a challenge, but all of them are tight. All this, they not stepbrothers, they brothers and sisters, and they tight, And so when you got kids that love each other and grew up, tight, whether I was single or not, I kept my kids. That was the most important component to my life. Um, and it's just, you don't take your hands off of them until they're ready, and I told them, you get through school or you decide what profession you're gonna go in. I know everybody in Charlotte and South Carolina and Georgia, and so we're gonna find you somebody to link up with to help make life easier. so
Mhm.
that you don't have to come back home. Because once you out, I don't want you to come back home unless you absolutely need to.
Yeah.
Go to your brother and sister house because they got it too.
Good luck
And
with that.
it's working.
Yeah.
Never push these kids out the nest until they're ready to fly. And if you do, you're gonna create one that's gonna have to come back home. You know what I mean? And so why do it if you know what the outcome's gonna be? So
Mhm.
that worked for
Mhm.
me. And it ain't for everybody, but when I say it was rough, because with all these personalities and all these different, I
Mm,
want to do, or I like this, or I
exactly.
like that. I wish I could have just said, "No, I'm done buying those clothes and those shoes and those drawers and those bras and those sanitary stuff and teaching you this, But that's what dad is, and so it is what it is for me. Because one of the things that made me a strong dad was because I didn't have one. He didn't do what he was supposed to do in my life, so he taught me what not to do. I can say
Mhm.
that's one of the greatest things he taught me what not to do. By being absent. Um,
Mm.
he got his stuff together later on in my life, but in the beginning, he was cross town and I didn't see him. You know,
Mm.
and it
Mhm.
made me a better. It made me a better dad. And I had to thank him for that. He was like, "What? Yeah, I got to thank you. You know what I'm saying for not being there because that taught me to stand up and always be there."
Right.
I was one of those dads that was driving around in a minivan. I had a Mercedes at my house, but I drove that minivan like it was the best thing going. As long as I had cold air and heat, we used to be in that minivan like Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? And you couldn't tell me nothing. 8 kids plus some of their friends in a regular minivan. Yeah, we was tight. But that's how it
Okay.
was. You know what I'm saying? And we made the best of it. And those kids are excelling. I'm excited for what's next in their lives. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like your kids are pretty successful. Teacher, fireman, all kinds of stuff. Graduated college, so they got big shout out to you. It looks like maybe your son is on. He said he's here supporting my dad. Love you, pops. Oh, I
Is
love
that
that.
is that Charles? Charles is a doctor.
It, okay, Charles is a doctor. Well, hello, Charles.
Yeah.
Charles is a doctor. Is he single? Is he
I
single?
was
No.
getting ready to ask the same question, Stephanie. How old is Charles?
Right. Wait, who is that talking in the dark? We don't see anyone.
That's
How old is
that's because
Charles?
we can't see her. We can't see Queen. We can't see her face.
I don't know what's
Um,
wrong with my camera, but I can log out and try again. But yeah. Mhm.
yes, yes. So Charles, if you're still watching, us ladies, we want to know if you're single because you're a doctor now. Okay, we want to know. I got to, I got to cough.
I need my temperature checked.
He been, it's been
Nice.
years, you know what I'm saying? He been married for, I think Charles been married for about wait a minute, 6 years, 6 years
Okay,
now?
never mind.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
Dominique said, never mind, never mind, never
yeah.
mind, never mind.
I,
Okay.
I
All
I
right.
took a nursing
Okay.
I took a nursing class before.
There you go.
Dapper said he took a nursing class. Okay. What about you, Dwayne? Can you give us any feedback on what happens after high school? Does parenting change after high school for you, or did it change for you?
It did. It did. As a parent, you move from out of management into consult, being a consultant. And then when they reach in their early 20s, you move from out of being a consultant into a vice. So you're no longer management where things go through you. You're consulting after a while.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, we need to start doing this way, so prepare you for this. And then the next part is advisement, where they come to you and start asking you for advice or what should you do. I don't solicit any advice because it's not it's not my show. I
Right.
believe I don't believe in coddling adults. I believe in helping them figure it out. But there's only so much you can do when you aren't living in my house. I'm not paying your bills, and you have other responsibilities that you have to take care of. So there's only so much that I can do as a parent. So that's why I said the last part is advice. So it
Right.
does
Right.
change, and it depends too sometimes on the child itself. Some children are more independent than others. Some aren't. Some are more or less demanding than others are of your attention. So sometimes it all depends on the child itself.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. And with it sounds like all of us have more than one child, otherwise than James. And so, yeah, you're working with different personalities, different goals, different ways of parenting. You might have to change up for, the other children. The way you might parent one, you might have to change up and parent another way with the other. So completely get that. And I like that. You went from being a consultant to an advisor. I like that. I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Went
Hey,
from management
JT,
to consultant to
management to consultant to an advisor. Got it. Got it. Hey, JT, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself. We just finished with introductions.
Awesome. James JT Thompson, Big Woo Radio, entrepreneur, community activist, just all around spoken word artist. Just I'm blessed to be a part of the program tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we're talking about the ages of our children. How many children do you have, Charles, and what's their ages?
And so two sons, age will be 20, 27, a godson that is 3.
Nice. And then you just became a pop. Tell us about that.
Yeah, beautiful experience. My granddaughter was born about 6 weeks ago. I can't describe that feeling. It's a different type of love.
It sure is.
It definitely brings everything full circle. When you look at, fatherhood and how the dynamics of that. So definitely experience that with my granddaughter is definitely bringing a lot of realities and a lot of things that I didn't know all the way full circle.
Nice. So is anyone else a grandparent on here?
Me.
Dwayne, Dominique, Charles. Okay. How was that experience for y'all?
Oh, my grandkids are right. Especially the two youngest one, they're 3 and 4. They're, same month. They Scorpios, Lord Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But when I say they are so rotten, grandkids give you the opportunity to try again and maybe get it right this time. So, because, like you say, you learn, you kind of jack it up. Sometimes it's being a parent, but by the time you have your grandchildren, you think you're an expert, so you kind of, I don't know. I let my grandkids get away with a lot more than my kids did. So my kids are not happy about it.
Okay, what about you, Charles? How's it being? What do your grandchildren call you?
Pop. And so, for me, it's an amazing thing because I've always had kids in my house.
Right.
Sometimes it was just me with a lot of kids upstairs and downstairs, and is to come home now to nobody. I'm like, man, it's too quiet because someone was always busting something, bleeding or breaking something. And so, to come home to nobody to say anything to, what I'm saying, it's different, but I have some great grandkids. They smart, they full of life. And I got this granddaughter that told me she's going to be a singer. So I bought her a little, a little box that people do karaoke with. And when I tell this girl get her a little guitar and sing like she a grown lady, that's the next star then. So you got this
you go, girl. You go, girl.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to get her on a record with you, Dapper. We got to get you on a record. Get her a recording studio.
I'm with it. Let's go ahead.
She might be she may be the next her.
Starting off young. So let's talk about girl dads, because we've got a couple on here. Damien, I already heard you said that your daughter's got you wrapped around her finger. How was that? How was it when you went from, because your son is the oldest, right?
Right.
Okay, so how was that with your girl being the youngest?
I didn't have any expectations really. Me being, I guess, maybe starting out late. I guess we would say late. I didn't really have children until I was married, so I wasn't married till I was 30. So having that experience with my son and he getting all the top of the line stuff, from the diapers and the clothes and all those things. So when you have that second one, you normally like taper off a little bit. You kind of know the little ins and outs. You know what I mean? As far as like, nah, she's not gonna get the high price Pampers. She's gonna get like the Walmart junk or something like that. But with a girl, it's different.
Target Pampers
She,
is great.
Not with the girl. Can't do that with the
not with a
girl.
girl. She's like, nah, she's already, I call her bougie already. She wants everything that's high price. She picks out everything that's high price. So it's like, can I really say no?
As
They
she
don't really ask for a whole lot, but you know what I mean. Like if I'm able to do it, and it's within my means. They want 99% of the time they get what they want. I'm for quiet as kept. I'm not gonna tell anybody else that they shouldn't know that, but they still end up getting it. So it's been a good experience for me. I like my boy. He's cool. He's mellow. He's one side of who I am, real chill, laid back. And my daughter, she's a Gemini, so I call her a little sour patch. So she's lovable, but at the same time, if she don't know you, she gonna give you that look like, why are you talking to me type of thing. So it's a thing of dealing with those full range of emotions versus coming from a boy, where you can talk to him like, man up, we good. You get the little boom booms on your kneecaps and your elbows. You can kind of talk him through that. But with a girl, you got to be a little bit more nurturing. You got to give the hugs. You got to give the kisses, all those things. So it kind of helped me maintain my emotional intelligence a little bit when having a little girl. So yeah.
Yes, yes. We did an episode on girl dads, and we heard some of those same things. So totally get that, and I've heard that a lot from dads. Um, Dominique, I'm gonna go check on my little one because she just
Okay.
ran out of here. You gonna take over for me, baby?
I guess. So I was gonna say, I had 2 boys, 2 girls. So yeah, I can kind of I get that. You have to handle the girls a lot differently than you do the boys. You don't discipline them the same. You don't respond to them the same. So yeah, I can kind of understand that. So who else has? I would say you have boys as well, but we have daughters. Any of the other dads?
Yeah, I got my daughters. They've always been really independent. Always. I got one that is, a little fireball, and that was the one that you had to watch out for. And so there's always that one.
It's always that one. I
Yeah,
have
she's
one.
a brilliant lady, but when she was a kid, she had. I mean, her face is so pretty. You just think she ain't gonna do nothing.
Oh, that's
That
the ones you
sounds
gotta
like
watch out for.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she could never do anything wrong with my eyes, and so we had some rough days, but for the majority of them girls, my kids they've been good kids.
Mm.
They got into the same stuff everybody else got into. They got jealous over each other. Other than that, those personalities, I ain't really had no whole bunch of problems, but I had to deal with them the same way I dealt with my sons, because I didn't want to tear them down verbally, you know what I mean? Because those words with these young men, you teach them, oh, you ain't supposed to cry because you're a boy. No, that's a lie. You
Right.
better get that up off of
Yeah,
you, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you can move on. And
right.
when they learn to believe that and believe it, trust what dad is saying because of who he is and where he's been and what he's made it through. And I was always transparent with my kids. Yeah, we can do this right here and do this right here, but tomorrow we ain't doing nothing else. And when we got that real understanding, I think it made life easy with that many kids because it was always something going on, and it was for my girls, they just been resilient, um, and they had a good life, like I said, I keep saying I'm excited for what's next for these kids, because I feel like they well grounded. And they got the best chance I could give them. I try to give it to them the best I could. Their moms did the best they could, and at the end of the day, what I'm saying, right now, I haven't been, to a police station, to a jail, or and everybody's still above ground. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to say that because everybody can't say that.
Right.
Those girls have been tough. When I say tough, they've had some stalkers, and I had to tell them, little stalker, look here, I'm a preacher now, but I ain't always been saved. You know, and so
No,
I
and
had to
tell
try
them
to
your
carry
gun
them with
don't
a
know the
couple of
word.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
With them and tell them, hold on, bro, wait a minute now. You don't do that in this house now. You better
Right.
go home to your mama. And I had to go to somebody's house and say, hold on, bro, I'm gonna tell you one time. This is what it's gonna be, and that's it. And other than that, I ain't really had no problem. Yeah, been a great experience for me. But one thing about it, I'm ready to get on the plane and go somewhere once this boy graduate. I'm putting some stamp on the
He
test so we
said
can
he
leave.
out.
Yeah, I'm out.
But then you still worry about them as well. You know, they're out of your house, and you still kind of, you know, you worry about them. You want to check on, especially if I don't hear from mine. I'm like, oh, I ain't heard from you in a few days. What's going on? And my oldest is married with kids, and I still be like, hey, son, you know, just checking on you, see how you going, like mental check day. So, but you have to
Yeah,
do that for boys and girls.
yeah,
See, and that's what I'm
Very
worried
true.
about. I'm worried about losing touch. Every day I come home and I see my son, I hang out with him, we talk, and pretty soon he's going to start living his own life, doing something outside of the house, and then my brother's kids are older and have moved out, and his son, he's 24, and called the house the other day, and my brother's like, "Hey, did you talk to your mom?" Because it was her birthday, and he hadn't called her yet, and she told him, "Don't remind him. Don't call him up and remind him. He's got to
Mhm.
do it himself." So when Braden called, he's like, "Yeah, have you talked to your mom?" No reason, just whatever. And like 10 minutes later, he realized and called his mom. But yeah, I'm so worried about that. Is losing touch, going like you said, going a couple of days without talking to them, and I just imagine I'm going to be constantly going, oh, what's going to happen to him? Is he doing okay? What if this happened? What if that happened? Yeah, I get nervous about that. I'm worried about that coming for coming to fruition, where he's gone for days or weeks, and I don't hear from him, and you know what I mean, and I'm just going to be
Yeah.
constantly worried about him.
Yeah. Well, that's when you check on them because like I said, my girls and I we talk all the time, I guess, because they tell their mom everything. But you know, the boys are a little different. They all have their different maturation process. So you may have some that your boys may not the light bulb doesn't come on until they're about between 25 and 30. And then that's when, that's when they realize it's like, huh, I have a dad. I might need to call him. Or I have a
Right.
mom. Right. So
Yeah.
Right.
like my son now, he would call every Sunday and be like, Mom, you cook? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, you got a wife. It's like, but or he'll put something on Facebook and he said, boy, I hadn't had lima beans and rice in a long time. So I cooked him some lima beans and rice and
That's
I made a
mama's
whole
meal. Okay.
right.
That's a good move right there. That's a good move.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's not. I mean, it'll kind of it affect you in the beginning. Like you'll start feeling bad. I missed
Mhm.
them, this, that, and the other. But trust me, they come around. They really do.
Yeah.
Look, Charles can
Yeah.
probably
And I'm sure he
tell
will.
you.
I mean, I'm sure he will, and I don't want him calling me every day or anything like that, but it's one of those things. He's going to be living his own life and kind of losing touch.
Mm,
The kind of the bond that we have now, that kind of fading away. Of course, you want him to, because he's going to have family, kids, and all that stuff. So, but that's just one of those things I'm not looking forward to as he gets older.
Yeah, I understand that. My 16-year-olds, I tell my daughter she's not ever going to move out because she's just so attached to me. But I know she is. So I understand that even when they just started driving. And so I'm constantly worried about them as new drivers, And so if I don't hear from them for a couple of hours, I'm like, wait, where you at? Are you okay? So I
Yeah.
understand. I understand graduating from high school and then moving out. Yeah, I'm gonna be a nervous wreck. Y'all gonna see me on the podcast with my hair all over the place. Like, where are my kids at?
I don't.
So I think that's natural.
Yeah, for
yeah.
me, I had to. You know, I pray about everything. To be honest with you, I have kids that are just like me. They're independent. They work. They got a couple of them got families, and so they don't. I don't talk every day to all of them. To be honest with you, I got one. They got a little group chat because away from me, and they mom, so they can talk to each other. And so I'll call one or two of them and say, okay, have you heard from such and such? And, they'll call and say, okay, Dad, they all right, they doing this, you know what I mean? They doing that, and it's that's a little space where they can kind of get away and make sure they stay in touch with each other. And I'm glad they had that because that gives me a peace of mind that everything is all right.
Mhm.
But as far as when they hit 25, things got a little different, And then when the
I'm
younger ones
sure.
start
A
talking
lot
to the older,
different, I'm
it's like,
sure.
yeah. So it went from talking to Dad, calling Dad to, I ain't talked to Dad this week, or this one I called her and I texted her and I said, I still got duct tape at my house. You better call me because you know I'll come down there looking for you. And so she said, no, okay, because I pop up and knock on that door, and it's I don't want to do that to invade her privacy, because these kids, they good kids, but at the same time, you still my kid.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so
I'm
I'm
a
always here every
long
day.
way off from what these gentlemen are talking about.
It's
I'm a
coming.
long way
Get your
off.
pills ready.
It's
Hey,
coming.
that.
Boy, but see, brother, I ain't wrapped too tight, so I'm just letting the Lord work on me before we get to that age.
Mm,
Okay, because I have no problem going to anybody's jail over my kids.
yep.
So, but my daughter, she's currently 16, so it's the navigating high school
Mhm.
stuff.
Ooh,
Mm,
My
that's that
oldest is
age.
into
good luck.
it's the questions about boys. It's the questions about like social, constructs that they're seeing and explaining different lifestyles to them, and not necessarily exposed to them like growing up. So you're out in the world basically, and now you're seeing different things play out in front of you, and you're curious as a child. Of course, the child's mind is a sponge. They don't want to know everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the flip side, she's just like super sweet. She's literally a clone of me as far as even artistically. Like she loves doing music, wants to be a filmmaker and write screenplays and stuff like that. So I just try to nurture those things. I think, oh,
Right.
there's something that's closer to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do this, that, and taught her how to, use studio equipment and things like that. But it's so she kind of still stays to herself a little bit. She has a little group of
Mhm.
friends, but she stays to herself. But then, next is college, and I remember how I was in college.
So you have to tell
Yes,
them those things. You have to be
a
very
whole
transparent.
new world.
Yes.
Oh no, her first lesson down it was I said, "Now look, baby, men are stupid.
Just cut right to
Okay,
the chase. That is stupid.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. Even daddy is stupid.
Mm,
We sometimes don't think things through. We don't make great decisions sometimes, but this is what it is. So you know how to weed out who you need to talk to or date or whatever it is, and that they will treat you how I've treated you and better than I've treated you. You're
mm,
not supposed to meet my standard. You're supposed to exceed my standard. So if I
right.
already been getting her nails on her hair and all that stuff done from a kid, that's not going to impress her when you come with your little hair and nail money talking
Right.
about, hey baby, come mess with
Right.
me.
Yep.
If
That's
Good
true.
she
for
already
you.
been to 5-star restaurants, she's been to Morton's, and she's been to Wolfgang Puck and all that stuff. What you coming better with, bro?
Mm-hmm.
You can't offer her Cheesecake Factory when she done been to Porterhouse 50 million times.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
think
not
it's
gonna work.
important for dads to date their daughters,
It is.
and we
Yeah.
we talked about that, and we did that. We talked about that on the girl dad show about dating your daughters and showing them, how they should be dated, how they should be respected, and having those conversations. So I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
you brought that back up. Um, I want to talk about mental health. Damien's a therapist, and so mental
Oh
health when it
yeah.
comes to your children. How is that when it comes to mental health in your children? How do you help them with coping with like everyday life and so forth? And that question is for anybody. How do you help your children with
I
maintaining
mean,
mental health?
basically, you just try to explain things in real time. You don't try
Mhm.
to lie to them because you can lie to your child and they go back out into the world and they're gonna see what they saw the day before, and they don't add up to what you said because you're trying to protect them and you're trying to hover over them. But even as far as like LGBTQ plus lifestyle, I had to break it down to my daughter that though she wasn't raised around it, you have family members that are a part of this community. Your dad has hired people of this community for the longest. One of his background singers is in the community. Is one of his stylists that has been in the community. So it's something showing that they're not. It doesn't make them a different person. They're still people.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
just a preference of lifestyle. It doesn't make them any worse or any better than anybody else. They're not bad people because they want to live a certain way. So you gotta explain these things because they don't know how to process certain stuff. So especially getting at that puberty and getting that adolescence and being around boys, being around girls, it may be a touch you don't understand. So it's my job to break that down for you in the most respectful way because I want you to always respect everybody.
Right, right. What about you, Damien? As a therapist yourself, how do you help your children with mental health?
I think it's a balance. I mean, of course, it's wide open. I think me being, a therapist has helped me in my parenting journey as far as recognizing emotions, but also being able to transfer that energy to my kids in regards to just emotions in general. And like I previously said, when we're boys, when we're younger, and I know, and I can probably speak for many of the guys on the panel, we don't necessarily address our emotions. We only give out the happiness or anger. We're told not to cry. Big boys don't cry, or we're not supposed to fear anything but God, but that's not true. We often have anxieties. We have things that we worry about. We struggle with, being sad, but oftentimes it comes off as anger. When someone lets you down, someone hurts your feelings, we don't cry as much as we do fight or want to fight. So being able to have that expertise and being in the field as long as I have, being able to transfer that to my kids allows them, especially my son, to be able to verbalize and express emotions in the correct way and not feel judged. You know what I mean? So when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about different preferences and things that we like. You shouldn't feel ashamed for what you like or if something hurts your feelings or whatever the case may be. Being able to express that in the right way versus punching a hole in the wall and throwing something, you can actually say, I feel anger. And this is the reason why. So it's a different context. They still have emotions, so they're still human, but I think with me being in the field and recognizing certain triggers and things, just watching my kids, I think I can easily navigate certain things just by having conversations and not being necessarily the therapist all the time, but also being dad, being able to nurture uh, those emotions at the same time. So I think it's definitely been a benefit for me. Whereas I know a lot of my colleagues and friends and things like that, when they're dealing with their kids, they're able to come to me and I can offer parenting advice as well. Not to say that I'm, 100% and I'm always right, but it's more so of them being able to be in contact and be in touch with their own emotions, and that way that we all can be better parents for that. So, when talking about mental health, we all deal with it on a daily basis, whether it's good or bad, we deal with it. But then being able to open up the platform for your kids to express healthy and in the right way, that's always something that's, evolving, over time. So.
Nice, nice. I like that. That's great. Does anybody else want to speak on mental health and how, because that's something really big right now. Our children are going through so much, and I think a lot of parents noticed since COVID that their children, they noticed a different side of their children when COVID came around and realized that, our children are struggling. They're really, really struggling. And I know, Damien as a therapist, he knows that, Daphne as an educator, we have JT and Charles that are in the ministry. So as ministers and being in community leaders, how do y'all help your children with their mental health?
I
For
don't
me,
hide
I
anything
just
from them.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I was saying I don't hide anything from them. Growing up in an era where we didn't talk about mental illness or mental health. When I became an adult and I saw how it affected other people working in mental health in community, and then going through it myself, I didn't hide anything from it. When my parents passed away, from being sick, I made it a point that I wasn't going to hide any health issues from my children, whether it's physical, mental, psychological, or anything. So it's okay that if you don't feel right, if you're going through something, to talk about it or say something about it. Don't hide it, because if you let it stay, it may fester, and build up and become something bigger than it's supposed to be. So, like I said, I just don't hide it. I tell them to talk about it. My Their mother tells them to talk about it from based on her own experience. So it's not a thing to be ashamed of anymore. It's something that a lot of people go through, and it's something that becomes not norm, but it becomes more obvious the later we get older, and the more people that's around. So you actually see more people that's coming, that's talking about it more than you used to. So
You're right. Yeah. And Charles, you were about to say something?
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, being a parent, being a dad, didn't come with an instruction manual, and so my oldest son and I, we really grew up together. Um, and as I started having more babies, I was a community dad where all the kids are always at my house, and I learned so much from these kids that were going through things that my kids never experienced, and it not just to not have, but when they were mentally struggling with things, and some on, they wanted to. I felt like they were misdiagnosed. Um, And I just started looking into it, like, how can I be a better mentor? How can I help this child and his family? And I'm talking about a long time ago. Um, and the life experience just taught me how to be a better dad and a better person, a better mentor, because I saw so much dealing with other people's children. I you know we I grew up in a place where you got out of line, you got a whooping, and you tried to go and do right. You know, but these kids have what I think is PTSD, and they hurting. And I've never seen so many in the last 5 years. I've never seen so many children that are dealing with depression or thinking I'm gonna commit suicide. And in our communities, we don't talk about it. We still have that stigma where in our black households where you keep whatever's going on in your house. And unfortunately, parents are losing their children because they don't even want to talk to somebody that they trust. And so that's why, I love different now. I love with my eyes open instead of my fist ball so I can receive it a little bit better. And it helps me just be better and just to kind of read up and study. I went and took a peer support class. I never worked in it. I just took it just so I can learn more. Because I was dealing with children that had families that had, and it was trickling down. And I said, wow, we are coming out, showing these kids a good time for a couple of hours and putting them right back into a place that's tearing them down here. How do I help this kid be better? And that's why around Charlotte, when they say, we're looking for a man to go get Charles, because they know if they can get me, if I got room, I want to make sure I do all I can with everybody that I know to help bring this child and get this child to a place where they can be successful in life, because that's all our kids need. I don't believe in throwing them away. I don't believe in a bad kid. I believe in a bad situation that some kids experience. And I just do all I can. And for me, like I said, for me and my kids, they go through. We just work through. One of the things that I learned with ministry, right? That was one of the ways that in mental health they use to help heal. It don't work for everybody because it ain't for, and that's okay. But for my kids, I taught them to pray. And I taught them to seek advice. You know, I came up in a place you don't talk about it, but if you got to get therapy, I'm team therapist. Go get it. Go get whatever help you need to get you healthy here, so you can be healthy here. And I believe if parents start doing that, this suicide thing amongst these young kids, 10, 13, will stop. But because they got a mask and they got to put this plastic on like everything is okay when it's not, and they don't know how to deal with life, and then they go take that chance of taking their life, and it's devastating when it happens. And so that's how I deal with it from my perspective. Is, like I said, I start, from my ministry space, because that just works, and if that doesn't help, then I want to stay connected to as many folk that can help our babies be better as I can. So, When I leave here, I want somebody to replace me and get it better than I did it. And so that's all I push for. That mental space is important.
Yeah.
And I was so excited this year that my wife wrote a book to help even adults deal with um, through deal with trauma through writing and journaling. I didn't know anything about journaling. I used to write stuff down and hide it, right? Because guys, we ain't supposed to journal. I was 6 feet 290 talking about journaling in college. Please, I'm gonna hide that from
Right.
everybody because I don't want nobody to know. Sometimes I had to go on, and before I prayed, I'm in there crying like, God, I can't deal with this, or I would react, and I just got, I learned from my life, and it just kind of helped prepare me into the place I'm in now. And I thank God for the journey I'm on with it. So I don't know a lot. I'm not certified, none of that. Um, I just know what I know, and it works, and what I don't know, I have to extend my hand.
Nice, nice. JT, what about you? Being in the ministry, how do you impress upon the importance of mental health with your family and your kids?
First of all, I want to agree with what the brother just said. It takes a lot of prayer, but you first got to make sure you good, you straight, because you can't pour into your kids if you're not full, if you don't have what you need in order to give them, equip them, lead their path, lead by example. I always say, in my household, I seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I seen every angle of life to be able to say, okay, I got to take this and spin this and flip this and make it work. That's why it was always an open door policy, for my boys, because I didn't want the streets to give it to them. Not when I know that, I had life experiences that can get it right here for me. So that was key. And then, having that open door, I understood coming up, I didn't have that open door. I had the door of, okay, what happens in these walls, you don't talk about it. So when you come up a certain way, and you become older, you have to make the adjustment to life. Life is different. So with life being so different, man, you have to raise, especially our young men, you gotta equip them different, because it's like you go out these doors, you already got two strikes against you. So I gotta show you how to maneuver. I gotta show you how to play the game. I gotta show you how to be a man in situations that are gonna arise, and also, pouring in that, your mental space is very important, because you can't operate and do anything in this life without being in a good headspace. So I told them and I taught them, always clear your mind. Clear it however, whether you need to cleanse your soul, whether you need to pray about it, or whether you just need to talk to someone. Don't live in fear. Leave yourself as an open book. And we talk about people that's depression and suicide. I've been down those roads. So when you've experienced things, you can go even a whole nother level with someone that may be traveling that path and be like, you know what? I understand. Because I understand is sometimes overused. People say they understand stuff that they ain't never been through.
Right.
I ain't speaking talking about anything that I haven't been through. And so when I'm pouring that back in my kids, daddy went through that. He ain't just talking at us, he talking to us. It's very, very important. I tell them, a lot of this stuff you seeing on TV or you hearing in this music and this, that, and the other, a lot of this stuff is fabricated. You got to read between the lines about what was real, what did I actually go through. I said, if you got boots on the ground and you've been through something, it's a different story anyway. They already know that by how you bringing it, that you walk that journey. And I tell them, I walk that journey so you wouldn't have to, so I can steer you in the right direction, so I can give you game, so I can give you what you need in order to walk right in this life. And that Tiffany, for me, as a man, I can lay peacefully at night and say, I'm giving it to him straight like that. I ain't sugarcoating nothing. I ain't leaving it out there for nobody else to give it to him, because I couldn't even lay peacefully at night if I didn't give it to him straight from the hip and leave the open door. Like, if you need to relieve it, if you need to say it, say what's on your chest. Get it off your chest, because I promise you, you'll feel a lot better when you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are some good points. Go ahead, Dominique. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I agree. Those are some good points. Especially being a minister, I've always had a problem with going sitting in anyone's congregation and you try to, say preach at me about addiction or things of that nature, and you've never been addicted to anything. you
Right.
know. So one thing I taught my children is I need to know what's going on with you. I can protect you in the house. I can't protect you in the street.
Right.
So, and I don't want to hear about it from the streets. You should be able to come to me and tell me, um, how you feeling. If those things, it could be a bad day. It could be somebody was bullying you at school. And I don't sugarcoat anything, with my kids. I do know that a lot of mental illness is passed down from generation to generation. And so you're taught in those different generations how to deal with it. So the way my mom dealt with it in her days, it was you got to be a strong black woman, and you got to keep your head high, your chest out, and you got to maintain the family no matter what the man does, and this, that, and the other, and that's a bunch of bull.
Mm-hmm.
um we want to be soft too. We don't want to have to fight all the time. We don't want to have to be strong all the time. And we have to learn to not allow our friends and family to trauma dump on us, because we deal with a lot of stuff just as people, just as black people, one. And so to, have to hear your friends dealing with the same thing and they just feel so open to dump it on you. I stop mine. I'd be like, hold up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's, I'm gonna listen to you and you're gonna listen to me. This is not gonna be one-sided.
Right.
But mental illness is very real. I had a friend a year ago commit suicide, and it started from a child. All the trauma he had in his life as a child. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to teach our children from younger ages how to deal with the mental issues. It's okay to not be okay, and to come to someone that you can trust and say that I need help. Because as he grew up, he stopped taking his meds. He was in a good place, and then all of a sudden he started spiraling again. But he had such a big ego by that time. He had made a name for himself. He had been very successful, so he thought it would make him look weak if he started taking the meds again. And so that's one thing we express to our brothers, our men, like, we're here for you. Find someone. You say, a lot of men say women, you can't talk to women because we throw it back in your face. All women are not like that.
You're
And
right.
if you have a woman like that, you need to leave that woman alone. Because there are women out here like us that we genuinely care what you're going through. And like, we want to listen. We can't help you solve it. We're not going to try to help you solve it, but we are here to listen. So that's
Mhm.
important that children know that too.
I
Great
think,
point. Great point. Before I'm sorry, was somebody about to say something?
yeah, I was gonna say that I guess that's the dysfunction in a sense. You know what I mean? Like especially when it comes to guys, opening up is not a norm. You know what I mean? Unless you're kind of taught that. And growing up, most times we're not taught to open up. So when we become adults and you get in long-term relationships and things like that, you don't know who to kind of trust with your emotions because it probably either has been used against you, or if you talk to one of your homeboys, he throws it up. So a lot of it comes from that stigma of dysfunction, and understanding we as parents now, we have our own dysfunctional thoughts and things that were passed down to us. I don't necessarily believe that mental health was passed down, but the responses and the actions and the behaviors as a result of certain things. Like my man said earlier, kids are sponges. So if you're looking at how your parent is managing something that produces anger, or they having panic attacks, so you see when mom gets frustrated, she starts to hyperventilate. Guess what? I'm probably going to mimic that. As I
Mhm.
get older, as a child, I'm going to mimic a lot of these things. So it's more so I'm a huge advocate. If I have a child, if I'm seeing a child in individual therapy, no matter what age it is, of course, not being an adult, but 18 on down, I'm bringing that parent in because there are a lot of things that were taught unconsciously and subconsciously from that parent that they may not even be aware of. So we have to be mindful and prevalent and be intentional about making sure we're addressing our own stuff. It's not just the kid. Johnny is not being bad because Johnny want to be bad. It's something that he learned within his environment. So being able to address those things, we're just a root of our behavior. You know what I mean? Like our thoughts and our emotions trigger certain behaviors. So if we want to change a behavior within somebody, we got to change the way that they think. And sometimes as a parent, we're that primary person. So we have to change our thought process and how we parent in order to get Johnny to do what we need him to do for him to be successful. We can see the potential in our kids all day long. But if we're not lighting that fire, that emotional fire, and being able to be that open book, like my man was saying earlier, you don't necessarily have to sugarcoat everything. And at the same time, allow them to see you cry. Allow them to see when you become angry and how do you manage your own anger when you get angry. When you get anxious or worried about something, how do you handle that? And not being able to say, well, I'm okay, telling your kids I'm okay, then you go in the room and you crying for the rest of the night. They still feel that. It's still a unconscious connection that you have with your kid. They know when you're going through something. They may not be able to put their finger on it, but they know that you're dealing with something. And so they're watching how are you managing that. If you're coming out swinging every time you get upset, you can't get upset with Johnny for coming out swinging when he get upset.
True.
Right.
So being able to kind of manage those things, it trickles down. Whether that's man and wife or that's mom, whether that's dad, whatever the case may be, we have to get into the mindset of changing our own thought process. It's not, we're too old to change. Like, like we evolve. So that evolution is still being able to recognize faulty thought processes that we had from our own childhood. You know what I mean? Growing up in slavery, Jim Crow, whatever the case may be, we witness certain things too that we hold dear to our heart now. That could be deemed traumatic as well. So being able to recognize your own biases, your own traumatic events, and being able to process that yourself, and then being able to teach along the way your child, okay, well, when you get upset, this is how we can do it. We can journal, we can listen to music, we can woosah, we can do yoga, we can do whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's, verbally aggressive or physically aggressive in order to get your anger out or your frustration out or your depression out. You know what I mean? So that's just one of those stereotypes, one of those biases and misconceptions that we have when it comes to mental health. Not everything is an illness. When you replace that W with the I, it's more of a wellness thing than it is, and that's a collective. Like we're working on we. It's not just me. We're gonna work collectively, a unit, support system, family, friends, coworkers, whatever the case may be. So being able to just dive in, and show up in different spaces that way, I think collectively we'll do a whole lot better.
Yes.
Ooh, I need to come visit you.
Thank you. Now you see why I have him on all the time, Dominique.
Right. I need to sit on his couch.
Oh, thank you. That was a lot. That was a lot of wealth and information that I saw everybody nodding their heads and taking it in. So yes, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna listen to something by Dapper Don, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about some highlights of being dads, and what have been some of those highlights for you as fathers. So give me 1 second.
We here to live life.
We're gonna vibe out to No Fun by Dapper Don.
Just wanna have fun while I'm doing it, Trying to get to the top. You trying to live out here, man. What you trying to do? Let's get it. Hey, it ain't no fun if a nigga can't have none. It ain't no fun. It ain't no fun. It ain't no fun if a nigga can't have none. It ain't no fun. Yeah, it ain't no fun. I'm after the bag and trying mind, live it up. Need them dark tints, whips kitted up. No small change, I'm on the bigger bucks. This is fate, not luck, and I don't give a fuck. A middle finger up to the haters. Bringing daily news, yeah, I'm all about the paper. Drop 200 and the niggas still stunting. Call me Big Slim, the big clip filled with something. Listen, baby girl, come get a little pimpin'. Have your life right, cause your baby dad slipping. All the G's dance, they could walk with the scrippin'. And the ice to them dripping, got me feeling really different. You can't spin the block, bitch, the street closed. And got a new bad thing with Pete toes. And I ain't Dolomite, but I keep hoes. And you can be the next one, throw away the rose. If a nigga can't have none, it ain't no fun.
Nice. I saw you over there, JT, rocking your head a little bit. That was No Fun from Dapper Dime, one of our super dads tonight. So let's talk about highlights of being a dad. James, what has been one of your biggest highlights of being a dad? I know you have one. So what has been one of your, give us a couple highlights as a dad.
Just helping him understand everything. One of my highlights, well, many of them, was like when he was in Little League and being able to help coach, even though I'm a complete idiot when it comes to baseball. I mean, I'm not very good at the coaching part, but I saw that, they only had one coach at the time, and, nobody's helping. All the parents are watching, and I'm like, do you need help cleaning up? Maybe putting the kids in line, and then for the next 7 years, I'm a coach at baseball.
Okay.
I didn't mean to. And, but being able to be a part of that, helping him learn how to golf and fish, and listening to his stories. We were talking about mental health earlier, and I love the fact that my son can be honest with me, and he can tell me everything that's going on throughout high school when, it's not easy going through high school and having all these temptations and these things going on in your life. And I love that he was able to, after being out with his friends, or maybe some kind of drama was going on, and he was able to come to me and honestly tell me, well, this is happening, this kid's doing this thing, and I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this or that, and he was able, to this day, he can still come to me and be honest about everything. That was a huge highlight for me, is having him trust and work with me, and not, when I was a kid, most of my friends, we weren't tight with our parents. It was always a battle. It was a war. My dad's, the general, and here I am, a private, just trying to sneak into the army here, and I fought against it. And like you said earlier, about 24, 25 years old, you're like, oh man, I should have been better to him. And, I realized, he's off doing his own thing. I'm doing my own thing. And the cat's in the cradle kind of thing, where, oh man, I'm losing time. And so I'm glad. A big highlight to me is I'm able to have that experience and that relationship with my son now, and not wait till we were, 25 years old and he come to me, look, all this time I was actually doing that. He's able to come to me and tell me what's going on, and then ask me questions about it. Those are moments that I'm going to miss. And like I said about him growing up and leaving and not being around, I'm not going to have him coming to me with these stories and these questions and stuff, not as often anyway. And that's one of those things that I'll miss. But that's a huge highlight for me, was being able to be a part of him growing up, not just, the dad, and that was huge. Just seeing him and his accomplishments, being a part of that, and everything he was such a good kid, and so it's hard to narrow it down to one thing, I've had such a great, blessed life as a dad. He made it so easy. Another reason I only had one kid is he was just too good. I knew the next one was going to be the opposite. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. We got lucky on this one, and that's what we're going to do.
Right. You didn't want to take a chance on the second one. Okay.
I don't need to roll the dice again. I already won. Let's take our winnings and go home. So yeah, that my highlight was just pretty much
Yeah.
the entire time of him growing up, and like I said, the accomplishments and how we were able to be tight throughout the entire 18 plus years now.
Yeah, yeah. And it sounds like you really love your son and you really have like a deep affection for him. And so I'm hoping and I'm pretty sure that y'all's can, your relationship's going to continue when he goes to college, when he gets married, he's going to
Mhm.
know that he can come and talk to you because
Yeah.
you've had an open door with him. And that's so important for our kids to be able to come and talk to us because I'm like you. I rather you come to me and let's have a conversation about what your friends are doing that doesn't look right
Hmm.
and let's talk through it versus you not doing it and not reacting or not making the
And
right decision or something.
that was our biggest fear is if he's not honest with us, who
Right.
knows what he's going to do. And if we can't handle that honesty in the right way, then he's definitely going to fight against us. If he can come to us and have a rational conversation about what's going on and things that are being offered to him and those kind of things, and know that I can do this and I can say these things without any repercussions. And we're not going to come to him like, well, you hang out with the wrong kid and you can never see this
Right.
person ever. Instead, talk to him about how to deal with it, and what to say to your friends, and those kind of be a part of that scenario, not just direct them.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are good things. Those are good things. Would anybody else like to share their highlights of being a dad?
I think for me, I've having so many kids. It was just, I had some great experiences, to be honest with you. But just one of them, when I think about it, my son, like I said, my oldest son, we grew up together. Um, and when he named his son Charles the Fourth, I was like, wow. Uh, I had a grandson. My oldest grandson was, I love everybody, and they the best them that I can get, And so um, KJ is my favorite KJ, Charles is my favorite Charles, and Little Dimples is my favorite Dimples. So nobody's a favorite, everybody's a favorite. But to have a kid to come back and say, man, I didn't know what his name is gonna be. He said, man, I named him after you because, you know, um, life, life, you man for that, and that meant the world to me. Because when I leave here, it's gonna be another one that the world got to put up with, you know. Um, and that's a huge honor to know that my son in this day and age, when everybody's name is something else other than how we were named, thought enough of his dad to give his first son, my name, and so yeah,
Wow.
it was a special thing for me, and I love him for it. He's made me proud, but I love him for that too. And again, that's just part of the highlight, but I just wanted just to share that because a lot of
That's
times
that's
men
a pretty
men
big
don't get to say
highlight.
things. Yeah, we don't get to shells on our heart because like the brother said, we taught to suppress, and not address, and so it, thank you for giving me the moment to be able to share that with you guys because it was important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing for your grandchild to be named after you. I can
Mhm.
only imagine how that felt. I can only imagine. I'm over here about to cry like a little like a lady
Right.
over
I
here.
would have been crying after he was born.
Yes. Oh, okay. Baby babies after me.
Right.
Um, who else would like to share? David or JT or Stevie Wayne, would y'all like to share a highlight from fatherhood?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of highlights. But I think just seeing your kids evolve or find that one thing that they're really into or that they're gifted in. My son is a gifted like he's a drawer, he's an artist, and I never knew it until he showed me a picture that he drew, and I was like, "You must have traced this." He was like, "No," like I freehanded it, and so to see something like that, I was astonished because I never knew that he was into art, and so now it's kind of like feeding into that and giving him all the supplies and you know what I'm saying, the pencils and the papers and the poster boards and everything that he needs in order to kind of continue to like develop his craft. Or seeing my daughter get into gymnastics and flipping around the house and different things like that. just to see
Mhm.
like how did you learn that? I didn't put them in any art class or any gymnastics, but to like naturally be gifted at something and to see that kind of maturation process, like that's always a gift for me,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. Nice. JT, T. Dwayne.
I'll probably say my biggest highlight. Well, I have several. I mean, I can't put them all into one. I had a daughter that gave me a grandchild. I had one that went to the military, and I had
Nice.
one that's becoming a nurse. And then
Nice.
my last highlight probably would be my 8-year-old. I went back, went back for one more bite of the apple. And that
One, two,
one,
three.
yeah, that one is gonna be Obama. So
Okay. Okay. All right. Our next president. Our next president. I love it. You gave an accomplishment for each of your kids. I love it. JT, what about you? Highlight as a dad.
I'm gonna give you one from 3 years ago. My niece, who is very close, handwritten wrote me a Father's Day card out, and to summarize it, and what got me was that my dad didn't pick, but he did never let me down. And to
JT, you're
this day,
breaking up a little bit.
Mhm.
Can everybody hear him?
No.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, just basically, she said you picked me when my natural father didn't, and you've always been there for me, and you never let me down. And she can never forget that. It's imprinted on her heart. It touched me. My oldest son with his daughter, I'm seeing everything that I done to nurture him when he was little. He's mimicking all of it. And this 6 weeks in, I'm looking at this and I'm amazed, because if you don't think your kids feel what you're pouring into them, even as babies, I can tell you by fact now, it's real. They feel everything that you pour into them. And my youngest son, he's entrepreneur 101. And if I'm not looking in the mirror and looking at how I pretty much have set that example, I'm seeing it through my kids. So that's, when I look at them, I look at their spitting image of what you pour into them. And my biggest highlights is, and Tiff, you can appreciate this. When I look at my boys with their significant others, they know how to treat them. They know how to talk to them. They got respect for them, and
Mhm.
they ain't calling them out their names. And they're navigating and going about that thing called communication and making it real. And I've seen it firsthand. And I'm at peace because they know how to treat someone, and they also set the stage for how you need to treat me. That for me is a big highlight, because the way that women are disrespected and called out their names, to know that mine ain't out here trying to run it up like that, and they're trying to find that one, and when they find that one, they treat them like you my first, my last, and my only. I couldn't
Oh,
ask for anything more.
that's beautiful. See, y'all gonna have me crying on here. This supposed to be about super dads, and I'm gonna be on here crying. That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. So let's go ahead and we're gonna close out. But what I would like is for y'all to give a piece of advice to other fathers who might be watching, because we do have several people watching. We've had several comments. What something that you can share if you were talking to another man that's maybe becoming a first time dad? What would y'all share with them about being a father? Anyone can speak.
I guess I'll start out. Initially, I would say be present, be there. You know what I mean? But we're actually there more often than not. So I want to take it a step further to say make sure that you're intentional about, like my man was saying earlier, about instilling those values. First be valuable yourself, but then instilling those values into your children on a daily basis. And they'll thank you for it at the end.
Yes, yes, yes. Love that. Anybody else like to share a tip?
Like you
Fatherhood.
said, to be there, and like I was saying earlier, to make sure you're honest with the kids, and you know, with what you're going through, and so that they'll be just as honest with you. And it's a it's a cooperation. You know, raising the kid, it's not just you doing this, it's them working with you, working with them. You know, it's teamwork. It's not, yeah, it's not just being the order giver, or you know, the discipline. You know, you have to work with them, you know, not just for them.
Right, right. Love that. Love that. Anybody else like to offer a tip?
I guess for me, I would tell new dads is just love, 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 and don't forget to love. You know, one of the biggest things and biggest opportunities you have when you're a dad is the love don't cost you anything. You know, and if you lead with it, you're gonna make some mistakes, and that's okay. But you can always go back. You know what I mean? And as a man, teach by how your heart is. A lot of times, you know, there's a lack of love because we want to be what everybody says we're supposed to be, or you trying to fight to not be what they say you are. You know, and so if you lead with love, and stay grounded in that, you're gonna be okay. And never, and when I say never, I don't care how hard it gets, never give up.
Yes, yes. Thank you. JT, would you like to offer a tip or see Dwayne?
Just one thing. I'm gonna leave with this. Flawed is not a fault, but being fake would be your biggest mistake.
Say that again for us, JT. Say that one more time.
One time for the people in the back. Flawed is not a fault, but being fake would be your biggest mistake.
Yes, yes. Straight to the point. Straight to the point. See Dwayne, what about you? What would you give as an advice or tip to new fathers or existing fathers? You know, they might want some new tips.
So my best advice would be to always be a better example of who you are to your children. Represent yourself in the best light that you can, because they're always watching. When it comes to girl dads or fathers of girls, be a better example to what they see of how men treat women, because they need that. They need to know that there's someone out there, or an example that they can look towards to say, hey, that's not how I'm supposed to be treated. As a father of two sons, be an example of how you treat women and how you treat everybody else, because some people may not be used to the way that you are. They may not be used to the way of how you were raised, and how and how you love and how you treat people. So, like I said, be a better example, or be the best example for them.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank y'all for coming on the private room and joining myself and Dominique tonight. Ray said hello. He's sorry that he wasn't on tonight, but he's looking forward to meeting y'all in the future. And of course, Tiffany has went back to college, and so we're looking forward to her returning to us here in the next couple of weeks. So she gives her love to y'all as well as our 2024 Super Dads. So we're gonna close out. Let's share some social media so everybody can find you. Damien, what's your social media?
Instagram is not your average underscore therapist. Facebook, Damien Jarrell, two R's in that. Yeah. But if you look up DamienHarmon.com or thecouch704.com, you'll find me.
Nice, nice. Thank you. See Dwayne, tell everybody how to find you on social media.
You can find me on Facebook, C. Dwayne Hennett. You can find me on Instagram, same C. Dwayne Hennett. If you have any questions about my domestic violence fashion show, excuse me, so October 5th, 1 to 4 in North Carolina. You can also find those pages too, Beauty is Pain fashion show on Facebook and Beauty is Pain on IG.
Nice. We're actually going to have C. Dwayne and Kelly, the Fearless Runway, back as our community piece next month. So make sure y'all tune in the first Monday of August. And we're going to talk to them about the Beauty is Pain fashion show and what that means to the community and how you can get involved. So thank you for that. Charles, tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
Facebook is Charles Robinson or One Time Inc. Instagram is Big C 1800. If anybody needs to contact me, just reach out, and I keep it easy.
Okay, thank you so much. James, tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Facebook, James Draper or James Draper Comedian. I have some clips on YouTube, James Draper Comedian or at Confidence Bonsta. That's harder to find, so just look up James Draper Comedian. I also have a book called Scare Up a Joke, available on Amazon. If you want to look that up. Also, before we go, I wanted to share this. I have a Father's Day poem that I always post every year. I've been doing it for several years. It's the same poem, and I thought I'd share that with you guys here. It goes, Happy Father's Day, one and all, the only holiday for having balls. For the couple of times you didn't jerk, and proving those balls really worked. And adoptive dads, it's your day too, as you chose a kid to be with you. You stepped up when others didn't take the call. That, my friends, takes the biggest balls of all. Happy Father's Day.
I love it. That's a perfect way for us to close out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, James, for that poem, that Father's Day poem. I remember seeing that on your Facebook page and thought it was hilarious. So I loved it. Thank you for ending us out. Thank you. So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight on The Private Room. Make sure that you reach out and follow our SuperDads 2024. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. New year. New business ventures. Yeah. We are. Yeah. I'm something that you young boys never seen. OG status out the mud, but my nails clean. How you do it? How you make it out the system? How you dodge all the traps? How you rap with the vision? How you Christian still rage against the system? Still shoot the rock like he played for the Pistons. 88, 89 is Isaiah Thomas on the grind. Haters gon' hate, don't make me pay y'all some mind. And I've been on the line getting finer with the times. God on my side, so my vibe is divine. And I don't say much, but if you play with one of mine, I'ma lay one of yours down the same way every wine. Whole reverses, I suggest you research it. Came in and humble, now I live it, no rehearse. Need it, make it hard for you to beat it. I was hard on the boulevard. Far disregard of my God when I pull up. They was still sleep, how dare y'all overlook us? But y'all slept, come on. I was in the kitchen whipping something.